Hey, this is Elizabeth with Mad for Macrame, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this organizer basket. For supplies, you'll need a wooden organizer set that comes with the base and the top ring, along with all of the wooden inserts you need. These help hold everything in place after you create your basket. You'll also need some scissors, a 7 and a 9mm crochet hook. And for cord, I'm using 5mm braided, and this project requires about 90 meters. So I have these 50-meter rolls available, especially if you're making a multicolored basket, or you can use just a full 100-meter roll. All the supplies are available on my shop, and I will put the link in the description for you. Before we begin, I would recommend that you use a microfiber towel just to wipe your wooden piece off, especially on the insert pieces. Those are most important because they do fit down in these little sections here, so you just want to make sure to remove any residue, especially if you're using a lighter color of cord. I'm going to start off by using sand, and I think I'm going to make this basket 3 different colors. So you want to begin by starting off with a tail that's about 10 to 12 inches long and create a loop with your cord. I'm going to start off by using my smaller 7mm hook, and on the base you can begin in any hole that you choose. Insert your hook in one of the holes and then add that loop to your crochet hook and pull it through. For this first round, we're going to make slip stitches. So grab your working cord, and in the next hole, you want to insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the one that's on your hook. So again, in the next hole, you insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull it through the one on your hook. These slip stitches will help hide any of that extra space around the holes. I'm going to finish up these slip stitches, and on the last hole I will meet you back and show you how to close the round. For this last hole on the base, instead of using our working cord, we're actually going to make that last slip stitch with our starting tail. So when you insert your hook, drop your working cord, and then grab your tail. Pull that tail through, and then pull it through the loop on your hook, pulling it all the way through. To finish up the round, we want to make an invisible close or another slip stitch. So underneath this first stitch that we created, you want to insert your hook from back to front. And then pull that tail through. To finish off this stitch, that tail needs to go through the center of the last slip stitch we created. So from the back side, insert your hook through the center, and I like to flip my base over and pull that tail through. Now our piece is nice and seamless, and we're finished with round 1. For round 2, on the back side of your base, you want to find where the tail is sticking out. You want to begin by inserting your hook behind the slip stitch and make sure that that is the hole where that tail is coming out. First, we need to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then chain 1. This just gets us started. For this round, we're going to make single crochets, and we're going to insert our hook directly in the hole behind the slip stitch. So in that next hole, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both. That's our first single crochet. Again, in the next hole, you want to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through both. You'll continue making those single crochets all the way around the base, and I'll meet you back on that last hole and show you how we close the round using that starting tail. On the last stitch, in this last hole, you want to insert your hook and pull up a loop, just like normal with your working cord. But before we yarn over, switch to using your tail. You're actually going to yarn over and finish the stitch with this starting tail. So yarn over and pull through both, and then pull that tail all the way through. To close the round, we need to make an invisible close, and underneath this first stitch on top, this first horizontal V, you want to pull the tail through from front to back. And to finish that V, we need to insert our hook through the center of that last stitch. So on the back side, make sure you insert your hook underneath that little back loop through the center of that stitch and pull that tail through. Now round 2 is complete. To begin round 3, you want to find where that tail is sticking out. And then on this side, that's how you know where to insert your hook. There are a couple different ways you can start. We have these vertical V's that run around the basket. So here, you can begin by making waistcoat stitches in these vertical V's, or you can make single crochets in the back loop, which uses these outer V's, and you insert your hook through the center of that V. Let me show you what that looks like. So through the center of these outer horizontal V's, that would give our basket this little ledge here, and it would run all the way around the bottom of our basket. Or if you just begin using those vertical V's and making waistcoat stitches, your basket will just be seamless with V's all the way up without that little ledge. It's up to you, your personal preference. I'm going to begin by making a round of single crochets in the back loop. So I'm going to use those horizontal V's, and I'm going to insert my hook through the center of that first stitch. You make sure that's where the tail is sticking out. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then chain 1. For the single crochets, you're just working them in that back loop. So it's through the center of this horizontal V. Insert your hook, and then make sure that you're picking up that little extra back loop too. I'm going to go ahead and add my tail on top of my hook and stitch around it, just so I can hide it as I work. Yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through both, just like the last round. So we insert our hook through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. Now you see how we have our V's and there is this little stitch running underneath. That's that ledge. I'm going to finish up the round and I'll meet you back. After round 3, you want to go ahead and turn up the sides of the basket. You want your V's to be on the outside. For rounds 4 through 9, we're going to join each round by using the invisible join. First, you want to pull your hook out, making that last loop a little bit bigger. And this is when I like to switch to using my 9mm hook. We'll use this 9mm for the rest of the basket. To make the invisible join, underneath this first horizontal V, you want to insert your hook from back to front. Add that loop on your hook and pull it through. You don't want your loop to be too big like this, so you can actually pull back on your working cord to tighten it down. You only want this loop to be big enough to stick your hook through it. So just pull back on that working cord, and that looks better. Now to insert our hook, where the loop is, you'll see those vertical V's we talked about before. This is the V on the right, and this is the V on the left of the loop. So below the loop and to the right, you want to insert your hook through the center of this V. And make sure you're through the center of that stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. I like to stretch that loop up a bit. Now add the second loop on your hook. Yarn over and pull through both loops. This is how you'll join each round of the basket. It makes that first vertical V and that first horizontal V in each round. Now to continue, we're going to make waistcoat stitches, which are just single crochets. You just insert your hook through the center of these vertical V's. Go ahead and insert your hook through the center of the next V. Make sure it's splitting those two posts in the back and you're through the center. Yarn over, pull up a loop. I like to stretch that loop up a bit. Now we have two loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through both, just like a single crochet. Insert your hook in the next V, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. For each of the remaining rounds, you're going to use that invisible join and then finish the round with waistcoat stitches. And you want your basket tall enough where it reaches the height of these wooden inserts. So I like to use this as my guide. You can just stick one in temporarily, and you want your basket to be as tall as the wooden insert. I'm going to finish up the next few rounds and I'll meet you back and I'll show you how we add a round of slip stitches around the top and then how we add those wooden insert pieces. I'm obsessed with these colors. Just to recap, we started off with our slip stitches, then we made our single crochets behind those slip stitches, our single crochets in the back loop, and then I made 6 rounds of waistcoat stitches, and that worked out to be the perfect height. But if you're using a different brand of material or hook size, that may vary a bit. But for the last round, we need to add some slip stitches. This is the most important round. We're going to use those horizontal V's on top of the basket. We don't need to use the invisible join here. You're just going to directly insert your hook in that first horizontal V. So right under this first stitch on top. And we're going to make slip stitches. So again, you yarn over and pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the one on your hook. We're using those top V's. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop through the one on your hook. For these slip stitches, you want to tighten up your tension a bit. This is actually what's going to hold in that top ring of our basket. So you want to make these stitches a little bit tighter than normal. After you're finished with your last slip stitch, go ahead and pull that cord all the way through. And to finish this up, we need to make an invisible close or another fake stitch. I can't seem to find my tapestry needle, so I'm just going to use this smaller hook. I do like it. It has a small end on one side. And underneath this first outer V, I'm going to pull the cord through from bottom to top. And then through the center of the last V that runs around the outside, right here, I'm going to pull that cord through to the inside of the basket. It's just making a fake stitch or another fake V. Now weave in your tail and then clip off any excess cord. Now we can add our insert pieces. You have these that are a little bit bigger. You'll see this curved piece on this bottom corner, and then this groove is bigger than the top. The bigger groove goes on the bottom, and that little curved corner goes on the outside of the basket. So we have the curve on the bottom on the outside of the basket. Just add those all around. We also have these smaller sections. You'll see that this groove is bigger and thicker than this little groove here. The thin one goes on top and the thick one goes on the bottom for these center pieces. And that's because our base is actually made out of a thicker piece of wood than our top ring. So if you do put it together wrong, it won't work. You'll know. Just make sure those thicker pieces are on the bottom and everything is as straight as possible. Now we add that top ring. You can see those insert pieces pushing the basket out. That's okay. Just line up your top ring and you're actually going to pull this basket around the top ring. It kind of squeezes this ring in place. I like to work in a circle. So I pull the basket around the top ring and then make sure that these insert pieces are in place. Spin and then start working on the next section. Pull the basket and then click those center pieces in place. This does take a bit of patience and a little bit of time. You get one section in and then another section comes loose, but once you get everything lined up, the pieces almost click in place. I like to squeeze these slip stitches, just kind of push them around that top ring, and everything is secure. You can use glue, but honestly, just making those tighter slip stitches around the top worked really well. You can move this basket, you can turn it upside down, nothing comes apart. So I think that you'll be confident in knowing it won't come apart as long as you add those slip stitches around the top. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you'd like to make your own organizer basket, these wooden pieces and the cord are available on my shop. The link will be in the description. And please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Bye!